Hello, good evening, everyone who's listening to our show, the Goodfolks podcast. This is another episode, and I want you to welcome with me Farah, Lina, Chebiub. I didn't pronounce the second name incorrectly.
Hello.
So I would first like to thank you for accepting the invitation and coming to Goodfolks podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for the
The invitation.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm so sorry. Thank you for the invitation. It's really an honor, and this is very important for us. Let's say for the youth to be introduced with good folks, with good people.
I mean, you're not stressed. You have done a lot of videos
Yes.
facing people. So this is not the first time for you facing people.
No. Actually, I've faced cameras before.
Right. So you're the founder of a very interesting initiative on Instagram called TBD, or Tomorrow is a Better Day. And it is specialized in educating people about women's rights, harassment, and a bunch of different topics. Can you talk more about that?
Okay, so let me just correct you a little bit. So this is TBD Algeria. It's Tomorrow is a Better Day. This platform was initially created back in 2011. And it was created on Facebook. So I created a page on Facebook to talk about sexual assault
Do you
and
have a
sexual
Facebook
harassment.
page?
Yes.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, so it talks about sexual harassment and sexual assault. But let's say that I was not ready emotionally to manage the page, and plus people were not let's say, very trusting of the platform of Facebook. You know, back then, let's say people were not even sharing their photos. But things has changed. I'm not gonna lie, I was very busy with work and studies and then work, so I didn't really focus on it. Back on April. On April, I was scrolling on Facebook and then memory, and I saw my page, but from another account that I don't use anymore. So I managed the page from that account, and I was like, why did I ever stop? So I decided to reopen the platform, but this time work harder and really focus on it and really actually do a change. There is something behind it, and let's say I'd like to keep it to myself. Because it's a bit personal, that it's let's not keep it to myself. I am a survivor of sexual harassment when I was 6. So it was a cousin, and back when I saw the page, a cousin of me called and to tell me that there are 5 other girls in my family that have been sexually harassed by this guy. And that's when I decided to tell my mom, that's when I decided to tell everybody about it, and that's when I decided to really fight this issue, to really be completely engaging. I didn't want to be a victim of sexual assault, but I wanted to be a survivor, something that makes me stronger and help other victims become survivors and not victims.
Yeah, so you've been quite outspoken about it. I mean, a lot of girls in your position wouldn't be brave enough to talk to their parents. Brave, it's not about being brave. I think it's about the healing process, because it took me 21 years. So I don't think that's brave to wait 21 years. Of course, now I'm speaking, but the healing process takes time. This is why it's very important to speak about sexual assault and sexual harassment, especially on children, especially that the majority of victims are children. So it has a certain impact on people, on children, when they face it, that lasts, let's say, a lifetime. And it's a very hard trauma to deal with. It's not a trauma that can make you could say I lived through it, I'm okay, I'm not depressed all the time, I'm not sad all the time, I don't have mental issues and stuff, but somehow at a certain point it kicks back in. So this is why it is very, very important to speak about the issue, to educate about the issue, and to make people know that it is not their fault, that they should never be blamed for it, Yeah, but
nor for not speaking out.
But the problem is that in that age you don't know. You're totally clueless about how this world
And
works.
this is why I am trying to do.
Some people don't know even what that is. Like they don't realize that that's harassment.
Of course, and this is why we are educating people. This is why it is very important for parents to start talking about this topic with their children since they are 3 years old, 2 to 3 years old, let's say to 4 years old. They start to teach them about their intimate parts, about the ownership of their body. This is very important. That's why we try to communicate with parents a lot about this matter. Especially, let's say, I'm going to tell you something quick. For example, in our culture, when a little child doesn't want to kiss someone, we force him to kiss that person. Like, you must say hi, you must kiss that person.
Yeah.
This would give them
بوس خالتك.
بوس عمك، بوس خالتك، بوس صاحب بابك، بوس صاحبة يماك ولا je sais pas ولا. So we are inserting that idea that if someone else would force them to do something, they wouldn't know it's that wrong, especially when the perpetrator is not doing it in an aggressive way, which is most of cases. Perpetrators don't go and beat children.
They come as if they want to play a game, or they're nice, or that's okay.
It's a type of affection.
Yeah.
It's our little secret. I'm gonna give you money. They trick them into it, and children don't know what this is. Most people بالعربية يقولوا بالك واحد يدير لك حاجة ماشي مليحة. If this child doesn't know what حاجة ماشي مليحة is, how would he know that he is facing something bad? He wouldn't come to the parents telling that something bad happened to me, because for him it's something like this person is doing him something good, or that it's normal. So حتى يلحقوا, let's say, the age of 5, 6, they start to understand the sexuality, they start to get curious about it, and they start to know that there is something wrong, and that's when it hits.
So, I mean, you've been quite vocal about all of this, and I think that maybe you heard about many stories from the community that you work with.
Yes.
Does it ring a bell, like when you hear a story about parents who actually blamed their children, or maybe they weren't ready enough to face, like, for example, their relatives because of what happened? Like, for example, you complain and they tell you, no, you should keep that secret, because if we talk, the family is gonna like get broken. And
let me not be very, let's say, negative about it, but let's say that the majority of the stories that we have received, it was parents, let's say mostly mothers know first, but because there's such a huge pressure, and that's why I am a feminist, and that's why I fight for women's right, because everything is linked. Let me tell you, let me break it down, let's say. So why does the mother get scared when, for example, her brother harasses her little son or her little daughter, or when someone else does it? Because she gets blamed for it, and she gets divorced, or something bad happens to her, because she is the only responsible for this. This is how the society sees it. And this is why many, especially uneducated ones, they don't want to break the family apart. She doesn't want to get a divorce. She doesn't want her husband to kill her father, or her husband to kill her brother or her cousin. Or
but why does it move from the extreme to the extreme? We don't have to kill. Like, why do they have?
Let's say this is. I'm just giving an example.
Yeah, I know, but our society is a little bit aggressive when it comes.
Yeah.
They know that. I mean, she knows that if she tells her husband is not gonna react nicely to this, as it should be. But maybe he's going to fight his brother. Maybe it will lead to...
Yeah, to crimes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's because part of this is because when they're going to say, even if we go to the law, نتفضحوا. There's the reputation going on. They don't want people to know what happened inside the house. So it's all linked. And all of these circumstances, unfortunately, falls on the children that are
children
facing
who pay
this.
the price.
So they are the ones who are going to pay the price. I know many people that have been, they've contacted me, and they have been not sexually harassed or sexually violated as like des attouchements, but raped. I have someone who has been raped at 6 by his neighbor, and this case, for example, I really don't. Let me explain to you. So when the boy actually told his mother what had happened. She didn't do anything because she thought it's what's best for him and for his reputation, because she didn't want people to say in the neighborhood to say that this boy has faced this and then been bullied by others. So you see how it's all linked together. It's a very complicated issue, and they think it's for it's for the best. But her son now says, why she didn't take my side? Why she didn't do anything about it? Why she didn't fight him? Why she didn't press charges? So he just keeps asking questions. But when he grew a bit older, he's like, I know why she thought she's protecting me, because the society is cruel towards these victims. They are not welcome. It's like they put them aside. I know parents that decided to press charges and say that this man has raped our son or our daughter, but they ended up being bullied by everyone in the neighborhood. They had to sell their house and move so that people don't يديروا اشتيكي لولادهم.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that people laugh at this. I think that's people laugh at this.
People laugh at this.
They laugh about this experience.
شوف, the older, the adults, they laugh at, not laugh, they judge the parents. وين كانت يمه وين كان باباه وعلاش ما عسوش. The children يسمعوا الحكايه، لي بارون تاعنا يحكيوا على هاد الحكايه باللي الفلاني دار هكا بصح ما يقولش. The weird thing is that, let me tell you another story that really shocked me. So I was doing a live talking about child sexual abuse. Let me just give you an information. I take part in a Facebook group called Child Protection Algeria.
Oh yeah, I know that group. It's amazing.
Yeah,
they're doing a great job.
And we received, let's say, about 20,000 story, and 80 to 90% of them they faced the sexual assault or harassment when they were children, and the age range is around 8. The age range, but it starts from 3.5, 4. It starts from 4.
Wow.
It starts from 4. Yeah, 4 to 12. But then from 12, let's say from 12 to 20, it really it drops. The majority are children. The majority of victims of sexual assault are children. This is the thing that saddens me so much, but this is the reality of the situation in Algeria. These perpetrators are using the naivety of children to do whatever they want. And they are using the culture, they are using the silence. This is why I always say speak up, speak up, speak up, because we don't like to talk about the subject, even in family. Like when you hear sexual, جنسي, everyone starts to يطلع لهم الحمى يتكمبلكسا ويبدأ شغل كل واحد يبدأ يهرب بعينه, So people try to avoid this topic. They know it exists. I am sure that in every family, every neighborhood, we know someone that touched boys or girls in the neighborhood or in the family. We know that there is a pervert or there is a pedophile. We know this, but no one talks about it.
And that's bad. Yeah, they don't.
This is very bad, and it's very common, but it's very bad. It's very common and it's very bad. And then we see that these children are not protected at all. At all. Nothing. No protection. And when parents are courageous and they want to press charges and they want to get things right, let's say, and they do it and they succeed and they go and the pedophile goes to jail, then you have to face the society, an entire society that is against you. An entire society that is judging you. So it's very, very hard. This is why we really need to work together as a society, as a community, to fight this problem. Law enforcement, law alone can't do the job.
Yeah, but it also has to do with culture. As I told you, the way it is always manifested in jokes and sarcasm, that's what saddens me. Like, for example, when I used to be in high school, there used to be a teacher. Well, I didn't study it under his guidance, but I heard people talking about it, just laughing about it.
Yeah.
When he was in class, and he used to tell students, he looks at some boy and he tells him, "You come and sit on my lap, and I will give you 20 out of a 20." And then people start laughing. it was in middle school, not high school, middle school.
It's banalized. We can say that. Banalisé. C'est banalisé. I don't know if we can say that in French, in English.
I'm really not sure too.
I'm really not sure, but c'est tellement banalisé. And this is the thing. It's a very dangerous, very sick act, but it's seen as a joke, as you said.
Yeah,
and let me tell you something about teenage boys, which is very, very dangerous, and nobody talks about it. But I hope it doesn't bother you that I talk about it. Teenage boys, when they're in high school, let's say when they hit puberty,
middle
school, high school, there are some women that rape them. They force them into sexual activity.
Mm-hmm.
The older women than them, and they do them. And they do that, but the boys think that they did an achievement, although initially they had no consent to the act.
They didn't feel any pleasure, they didn't like it, they didn't have the desire.
It's they had no consent. They were raped.
Yeah.
They were forced to do a sexual activity. But it's seen as a good thing. If I know people that their teacher did that to them, female teacher, they did that to them. But they were like, oh, this happened to you, like you should be proud, like it's very manly, but it's very destroying emotionally because there was no consent in the act. And nobody talks about teenage boys getting raped all the time because the amount of teenage boys that face this is quite a big amount. I have heard stories since I could remember. Cousins, members of family, I don't know, like older women, they do this to them, and this is very nasty, but no one talks about it.
Yeah.
And it's even worse. If we're gonna fight this, we need to fight it on all levels. It's true, the majority of victims are women. Majority of victims are children, and they are little girls more than boys. So let's say it's 70% girls and 30%, around 35% boys, and around 65 to 70% girls. But it still exists, and we need to fight every form.
Yeah, even though it's the same experience, but I don't think that it affects boys the same way it affects girls.
It does affect them. It does. There are some that they got affected, and it's they have this misconception of the act, let's say. And okay, let me be a little, let's not brave, but outspoken, let's say. And we have another problem. We have zero sexual education when it comes to our society. We never talk about this.
Everyone learns that outside.
You and I know where they learn that from.
Yeah.
And it's toxic. And from where these boys, young boys, or même adultes, les hommes adultes, I'm not justifying, just telling you, I am not justifying. But many, let's say men, they think that what they see on those platforms and sites, that this is the right way. While there, it's a very toxic thing. It's a very aggressive. There are many kind of sick, twisted things that are not even normal, not even human, let's say. And they think that this is the right thing.
There's also filmmaking effects that try to make you feel like this is pleasurable. And
they try to make you that this is the right thing. That this is the right thing. To force someone to do something is the right thing, or that, oh, if I force someone to do that something, at a certain point they're gonna like it. You see? Which is totally wrong, and it's a problem that everyone is facing, not only in Algeria. In Algeria, what we're facing here, I say it again and again, it's a huge problem of pedophilia. Huge problem of pedophilia.
But if they don't learn it from those websites, where the hell are they going to learn it? The problem is that we don't have like a sexual education.
Exactly. This is why what we're talking about.
I remember someone in the internet cafe, like he was caught watching porn on certain websites, and then his justification was like, I'm learning.
I'm learning.
Because I'm gonna get married soon. So
So this is it's a very complicated thing. But if this is a global thing when it comes to this industry, to pornographic industry, when we're talking about it, it's really toxic for all types of relationships. It's very, very toxic. And this is another subject. But when we're talking about Algeria, we're talking about a huge problem of disrespecting women. When we were talking about sexual harassment on the street sexual harassment. It's just seeing women as inferior, seeing themselves as واش كتكبري في الحكاية. And if you speak up, they're like خليك منها. She just is looking for problems. So even when you complain,
you're seen as the bad. You're always seen the bad guy. We suffer from rape culture. Aussi simple que ça. كاين تطبيع من المجتمع فيما يتعلق بجميع أنواع العنف الجنسي. تطبيع. So they take it as a joke, or if someone speaks out, they put the blame on him or her, on the person who spoke up. If it's on children, they blame it on parents, women, of course, on mothers. So it's just everyone is given the right, but they never like look at the perpetrator as you are a criminal and you deserve to be put in jail. And these people, all these victims, deserve protection. Women and children and men, everyone deserves protection. This is how we need to look at it, as these people are criminals. When someone kills someone, we don't try to find excuses for the killing. When someone steals, let's say, when someone steals something, we don't try to, oh yeah, but why did you park your car there? I mean, come on, it's not a very safe neighborhood. You shouldn't park your car there. When they go to the police office, they're like, my car got stolen, this is the code. They continue trying to find the car, and they put the thief in jail. In jail.
It's okay, it's
in
okay.
jail. And this is the logical thing. Someone harassed somebody, you take them, you do your, of course, investigations. If that someone actually harassed that girl or that woman, he should be put in jail. They should not say that, oh, but you know, you make marriage so difficult, it's so expensive. It's logical that people have these urge, men are having this urge to, they didn't find where to let go of their urge. And I'm like, do you know how many married men are raping children? Married. So it's there is nothing to do with that. They're like, you know, they're not educated. Do you know how many teachers are harassing? I have been harassed in high school by a teacher, but as I look back at it, I'm like, yeah, as you said, it's taken as a joke. My classmate used to tell me, can you please stare at him so that we can, you know, cheat on the test? And this is what I do. I stare at him and he forgets about everything. I was 16. He was, I don't even know how old he was. But I've never been in a class with him alone. Like I never, like he tries, but I never, because I'm so uncomfortable. He comes to explain to me something and I'm like, you know.
Stay away from me.
Because you feel that vibe, you know, you
Yeah.
feel that disgusting vibe. And we have teachers. Let me tell you a story. It's a very, very bad one. There's this survivor, now she's a survivor. She has been raped when she was 14. And she has huge emotional issues. Like really mentally she suffered since that happened. She suffered. So her parents took her like any good parents would do. They didn't know what was wrong, but they felt that there was something wrong with her. So they took her to this psychologist/psychiatrist to deal and heal her. He tried to sexually harass her.
The psychologist?
Yep. Yes. He forcibly kissed her and tried to sexually harass her until she kicked him and then left. A psychiatrist. A psychologist. I know. It's very heavy. The reality is cruel. I receive cases where I can't spend the day what are you gonna do?
You know, there are certain women who usually just stay away from being in a room or an apartment with only guys. They say that there should be a woman, there should be, a girl or like a female. And I sometimes when this happens, some guys would be like, it should be her, like she's just a mususa. But when I hear stories like this, like I understand their fear. Because maybe they heard a lot of stories, or maybe something happened to them that they made them less, I don't know, like they don't trust guys, especially guys they don't know. And it's very sad because that's we're going to end up with an unstable society, full
We
of...
are in there. You
Yeah,
can't,
we're already
you
there.
can already see it.
Do you usually get stigmatized or demonized when you say that you're a feminist? Because usually people think that, especially from guys, because usually people think that feminist is just fighting for women's rights, but at the same time you're outspoken about like all harassment, like the ones that happen to boys and girls. So you're not
Of course.
only advocate for women, you advocate for...
I'm not biased.
Yeah.
I'm not biased. I fight. I'm gonna be very honest. My fight is against sexual harassment, regardless who the victim is, who the gender of the victim, regardless of the gender of the victim. I am a feminist, but this is me. This is my personality. It's not related to my platform. Just so you know, my platform. If you check my platform, I talk about sexual assault. I talk about sexual harassment and sexual assault. I don't talk about other gender issues. I talk about them in my private profile, but I don't talk about them on my platform because I chose a fight. And this fight, for me to be able to give it 100%, I need to be there 100%. I do other things on the side. I am a Down syndrome activist. I do this, but come on, this is not heavy. To be a Down syndrome activist, it's a joy. It's something that gives me joy. It's something, being around them, doing events with them. It's just
when you say Down syndrome activist, can you explain that for people who are not familiar with this?
Okay, so Down syndrome activist, it means that I fight for them to have, first of all, education, the right to have education, the right to be accepted in the society because they are not accepted. People treat them as crazy. People get scared of them in the street. They walk in the street and people they see them as I don't know, as something
inferior?
to be not inferior. Some people, they think, oh, they're too aggressive. No, I can't. How can you work with them? They're aggressive. Come on, they're angels. They're loving. They're amazing.
You're talking about the survivors of those stories, right?
No, I'm talking about Down syndrome.
Oh, Down syndrome. So it's the disease, the mental...
Down syndrome.
Oh, okay.
What did you...
Yeah, we
you
said Down
misunderstood.
syndrome was like syndrome, Down...
No, I told you.
Okay,
I am, on my platform, I work only on sexual assault.
But the thing is that a lot of people, I think that the reason people, I met a lot of Down syndromes people, sometimes in the street, they are used as, I don't know, like comedians.
Joke tools, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
This
I remember
is what I'm fighting.
there was like this bus driver. He brings someone like that, he got Down syndrome. He brings him, he doesn't work or anything, just keeps him in a seat inside, just so that he starts yelling and doing those, it doesn't say anything, it's just doing sounds. And then the bus driver is laughing and all. I remember one of my friends once, he was like, you're not supposed to, he doesn't know, this guy doesn't know, the guy with the Down syndrome. He's just coming with you and you're taking advantage of him so that you can spend time during the day. And you're having fun having him around you and doing those sounds, but for people, he's sick.
When we talk about Down syndrome in Algeria, we have 1,000 cases per year. So the number of people with Down syndrome in Algeria is a big number. And the society is completely stigmatized them completely, fully. Even their parents, many parents cry day and night when they know that their child has Down syndrome. Many of them. Many women don't even know how to deal with it. Many women get divorced the minute they lay the baby. The parent, the father, leaves the woman because the child has Down syndrome.
When that happens, does this mean that all other children will be characterized as Down syndrome?
What all children? No.
Usually it happens only to one?
No,
person?
not one, not two. You can't. No, this is the thing, and it's not related to young, old. It could happen
to anyone.
My aunt has my cousin. He has Down syndrome. Thank God he has been raised the right way and he has been educated and he's just amazing. But she was 30 when she had him, so she was not old like people think. She was 30 and his sister doesn't have Down syndrome. But the society really doesn't give them a chance to even live. No education, no work. They're just there.
They're just there. So I'm an activist. We tried with, thank God, alhamdulillah, yani thanks first to God and second to a very, very generous businessman, we were able to create a center for them where they could learn many things because thanks to an association named ANIT, now people with Down syndrome around Algiers and few other states, they have the rights for education. They study from سنة أولى حتى سنة سادسة.
Can you tell us more about this center so that people who maybe know other people might
شوف حتى بصح يقراو حتى ل5 سنين.
Okay.
هما 5 سنين سنة 5 so c'est le 5e. So when they get there هما because عندهم un retard, so they are around 17, 18. When they reach 18, they are it's not legal for them to attend school anymore. Okay. So all young people above 18 years old, they were forced to stay home because there is nothing for them, absolutely nothing. And this center, they teach them many like Marocanerie, كيفاش يقولها, leather crafting, something like that.
I have no idea.
يخدموا الكوير. Can I say that?
Yeah, of course.
يعلموهم يخدموا الكوير, يعلموهم يخيطوا, يعلموهم يطيبوا. They make des pâtes feuilletées magnifiques ويبيعوها. So this is very interesting. يعلموا لهم la poterie. أنا in my enterprise, I buy their gifts and I sell them to enterprises as end of the year gifts, and they're really, really nice.
So they teach them this in this center?
Yes.
What is it called?
C'est centre de formation professionnelle pour de l'association ANIT.
Where can people find that?
People should contact the association. L'association ANIT راهي جايه كيما لا سال افريقيا في الجي. التماك يروحوا لتماك إلا عندهم دي il a le trisomie qu'il a plus de 18 ans. Donc ici كيفاش يديروه في le centre de formation. Ou il a le trisomie qu'il a moins de 18 ans راهم حابين يديروا la scolarisation, يشوفوا كيفاش يديروا la scolarisation. حاجه مليحه تانيك, they take in charge young children with Down syndrome from the age of 3. Like from the age of 3 they can take part in this association. Déjà مع les orthophonistes et tout. So I advise people to take part, to go there if they're interested. Revenons à notre sujet so that we don't, because I think the subject is about TBD Algeria or is about what I do, because I need to
You
know.
haven't explained yet. What do you do exactly?
Okay, so I am an entrepreneur.
Okay.
I have a printing house and I have a marketing and communication agency. So I have this agency that manages artists, and we try to promote Algerian art, painting mainly. And we do events, many events that promotes art. And all the events that I try to organize and do and create, for me, they must have a side that would help a society in somehow.
Right.
So like we did events with the Down Syndrome Association, the ANIT, and we're preparing another event that would help women with breast cancer to find a shelter. So we're trying to find sponsors to create a shelter for women who have breast cancer, and they come to Algiers for the therapy, and they don't have where to stay, where to sleep. So we're trying to we're going to do this artistic event. It's a vernissage, كيفاش يقولوا له? It's an art exhibition. And in that art exhibition, the point, like we're going to invite people from like businessmen, people of media, and يعني, let's say, high profiles that would want to help in this issue. So, the name of the event is Beyond Complete, because the society, unfortunately, a lot of times sees the women who got the breast removed as incomplete, you know? So we wanted to have this an honor for them, for these women, that they are not just complete women, but they are beyond it because they are stronger and that they are facing something huge and they're just amazing, you know, and there's nothing incomplete about them. They're even more complete than us, the ones that are, let's say, sane and we don't have disease, because it's hard to go through all that, but we are sure they're going to make it. Many of them made it. And it's to spread awareness about testing. They need to get tested. All women need to get tested regardless of the age, because there are many young women, as young as me or younger, that had it. So yeah. So this is and the printing house, you know what printers do.
Yes.
That's very corporate.
So, I mean, where do you get all this energy? Is it because of your past experience in your childhood, or like you're doing many things?
Well, let me be clear. I think it's thanks to my upbringing. My grandfather was a businessman. My father is a businessman, and my father is, my father is a feminist, because he raised us and our brother equally, you know, that you are equal and that you are strong, you can work. He was very supportive. So I think it's from that maybe I got it. And I'm just active. I can't. I have a lot of energy. I mean, from the COVID, because I didn't work for several months. Let's say that TBD is the only thing that kept me sane, because I'm a workaholic. I have a problem. I have to admit it. I have an issue. I didn't stop working for a day since the creation of my enterprise back in 2015. I didn't stop, like non-stop working, no weekends, no, like maybe I travel, but even when I travel, I work, like I work.
But it actually makes you feel good about yourself, especially when you're productive, right?
Yeah, I know that. But then can you imagine, then COVID, everything stopped, and I'm like, the first month it was nice. I spent it cooking and painting, because I paint too. First month it was okay. Second month hit, and I'm like, I can't do that. This is too much. And I'm telling you, like, the platform TBD, doing something for the society, doing something, helping someone, regardless if I'm getting paid for it or I'm not getting paid for it, that helped me a lot, let's say, cope with the COVID-19 crisis. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, of course. You're a workaholic, do you reach those situations where you feel like you're exaggerating with work and you're so exhausted and you need some break in your life, or is it like you still keep going?
I do feel it, but the problem is that even when I decide to have a break, like I have a break for a day and then I'm like, I can't, I need to do something.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a big problem. It's a huge problem.
You're not one of those people who just want to relax in the couch and watch TV
the thing
for like
is,
3 hours.
I find time to do, like, even to watch movies. I love Ghibli movies. I love anime. Like, this is my comfort thing, and I love cooking. So even when I, for example, work the entire day, I go cook a really nice meal and I put a nice movie. Even if it's, let's say, 11 p.m. or if it's 1 a.m. So I still do that.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't sleep a lot.
But, oh my God, and you don't feel exhausted during the day?
This is the thing, because I only need 5 to 6 hours of sleep.
Same for me, but when you sleep at 2 or 3, that's bad.
When I sleep, listen, when I sleep at 1, I automatically get up at 6, 7. Wow. Automatically. بصح لا تفنينت من الكوفيد. I'm not gonna lie. من الكوفيد, like I am, because there is nothing to do, so I'm just...
Yeah.
It's very unfortunate, but well, it gave me a very long break. Now I'm really ready to work as hard as I used to before.
Yeah, what about the printing house? It also, the sale, also the work, it decreased? I have had huge difficulties because I already invested a lot of money in stand making, because what I do stand making for fairs. So the thing is, right before COVID, I had 5 clients with huge stands. I don't do the 3D design at my place, like at my printing house. I do it in the exterior. So you imagine that I paid 5 designs, and one is 100,000, the other is 70,000, the other is 60,000, the other is 150. So it was a lot of money that I invested in something that it's not happening anytime soon. Yeah.
So I was like, when they said everything is cancelled, I'm like, no.
No way.
No. And we had, on fait aussi les animations point vente et tout. Everything was cancelled.
But didn't start the printing house this year, right? Or last year?
No, I started back in 2000. Well, the project started in 2015. It was operational in 2016.
Yeah, I mean that's good because there are certain people who started their business like in 2020 at the beginning and then like that is
It means they didn't invest. The thing is, I invested a lot of money on the machines.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I'm not an agency. I do the printing at my printing house, which is very challenging. Again, I go back to why I'm a feminist because I have been judged. I got a credit from the state. When I went to demand the credit, they're like, printing house, that's not a job for women. So,
but that, I mean,
legally they can't say that, but they did say that. They're like, are you sure? Like, it's quite heavy thing, so it's not something for women.
I don't like when people say that this is job for men, this is job for women, because I think, I mean, there are certain jobs where you find majority work there are men, maybe because it needs physical force, but there are also some women who can work that.
Yeah.
So to generalize and say that's only for men, like that's bad. Like, majority this job men, maybe most people who prefer that job are men.
Yeah.
But when there is a woman who tries to work there, don't make her feel bad. Don't make her feel that she's like a man. She's not a man.
I was, let's say, in my field, I work with men. I don't think there is a woman that works that works with me.
But you're okay with it. You're happy with it, right?
Because they are nice. The ones that I work with are very supportive. They treat me as their sister. They are always there for me. Whenever I need help, they're really, really supportive. They're really there for me. But I did face some sexist comments, like not from them, from others. They're like, "Oh, هذا الدومين وزيتو زحمتونا فيه، زدتو زحمتونا فيه، هذاك واش قعد؟ أنا ما رحتوش تقري." You see, so like كي نهضروا par exemple على les crèches, la majorité c'est des femmes. دوك كي راجل باغ اكزومبل يحب يخدم في لاكريش ولا نقولوا له كيفاش راجل تخدم في لاكريش راك شايف هاد we need to fight this. We really need to fight this. But well, so this is related to, I really want to go back on sexual assault.
Yeah, of course. Is it about the story, the recent story?
What story? I received so many. Which one? I was about to
the recent story of Shema. I mean, it hit social media so hard, so a lot of people. Even the Sun newspaper talked about it.
The night of Shema's story, I did a live where I was really furious. I was really angry. Why? Because I saw on AG Plus there were manifestations in India about a girl of 19 who was gang raped. And everyone took the street, and everyone was angry, and everyone spoke about it, and all the media spoke about it, and it was huge.
But I think it's a little bit different when it comes to India. There are huge sexual harassment.
I know, but just let me get to why I was angry. I was angry because this is the idea that we have of India, that it's true there are a lot of cases, but at least people are speaking up about it and caring. You know, before the story of Shema, there was a story about 2 months ago of a little girl of 16. We don't know her name because they didn't give her name. She was 16. She was raped. He raped her. The man who raped her was 45. He raped, then killed her, then cut her and put her in bags, plastic black bags. And then he tried to kill himself with gas. But he didn't succeed because his wife came, and then the police.
That happened in Algeria too?
Yes, it happened in Tipaza. It happened in Tipaza.
But it didn't make its
her
way
neighbor,
to the news.
Yes, it didn't. And I kept sharing these stories. You know that about 2 months and a half ago, a boy of 8 years old, he was raped to death. I'm saying to death by 4 men. He was raped to death, and nobody said anything about it. You know that around a month ago, 6 girls were raped in Constantine by a monster, and nobody talked about it. So that's why I got angry. Before the story of Shema, I got really angry. I'm like, what is it with you guys? Like, you don't feel it's okay? You don't feel it? You don't get bothered by these stories? I'm gonna say it, on the radio I'm gonna say that. I send these stories to influencers, and they put scene. خلوا لي scene, vu. Je partage avec eux, يخلوا vu. يهضروا على un sandwich pendant 3 heures, تبعت لهم حكاية كيما هذيك يخليك vu. Des acteurs اللي عندهم presque 1 million de followers ou plus des millions de followers, they don't move a thing. Shema, it reached دارت on va dire البوز حكاية تحول وقاعد يهضروا على sexual harassment and sexual assault. It's a good thing, thank God. بس come on, don't be hypocritical. You know? We see this hypocrisy like this is a constant fight. It's not a one-day fight. It's not a one-week fight. It's not a one-month fight. It's a constant fight. We need to speak up all the time. Whenever there is a story, ما كاش العدالة ماشي غير الشيماء، العدالة ليهم كامل باسكو كاينة بزاف اللي راهو يصرى لهم هاد الحكايات. وما خفي أعظم. وما خفي أعظم. هادو الحكايات اللي لحقونا. زعما الحكايات اللي ما لحقوش ما نهضروش، الحكايات اللي ما ليهم تسطروا عليها باسكو عيب وفضيحه وما حبوش يتفضحوا في الفيلاج ولا ما حبوش يتفضحوا في المدينه، هذوك ما نهضروش عليهم باسكو كاينه بزاف لي unfortunately the father rapes the girl and the girl gets pregnant and then she dies in labor and nobody hears about it, nobody speak. It's a huge problem.
Yeah, probably they're afraid of society.
Of course. And they are right to be scared of society because ماشي society اللي ترحم. السوسيتي تاعنا ما ترحمش. شوف برك شيماء واش هضروا عليها. رحموها ميتة في قبرها ما خلاوهاش ترونكيل. They justify violence. They justify sexual assault. They justify sexual harassment regardless of who the victim is. There was a little girl في عمرها 8 بدات تهدر على الكوفيد. She was wearing a short. الناس قاعد تهدر كيف خليتوها بالشورت معريه في خطيها. سي نورمال يكون لو فيول. الحكايه اللي كنت حابه نحكيها لك اون بلان لايف نهدر على لي فيولونس سيكسويل فيت aux enfants. وحده تكومونتي في لو لايف تقول لي مي سمحي لي كاينه بنات 5 سنين وعندهم لاطاي تاع عمرها. عبالك قعدت نوحدك شغل قلت سبحان الله ليلى من رسول الله مي سيريو venant d'une femme. مي بيسك انا هذاك الوقت باسكو دوكا خلاص شغل I reached like say and I am at the anger stage now. Back then when I did the live I was angry at her during the live. قلت لها كيفاش كي تهضري هكا كيفاش كي تجوستيفي. من بعد كان نتكلم كما يقول لك عندي الخاطر لقانا وشان like I really take my time to speak to those people. So I sent her a message. I said, why do you think that even if she's 5 but she has the body of a woman? She said, because in our family our little cousin was raped, and in the family they kept saying he raped her because her mom dresses her up in short like skirts and she has the body of an adult because she's chubby. So this girl, because I found out that the one who wrote the comment.
That's not her fault. That's not her mistake.
I know.
She's 5 years old.
I know. Let me get it to you. So this girl of I think she's only 16, and the one who wrote the comment, she's influenced by what her family said, and this is why she thinks it's related. And then I told her, but how do you know that this is what made him rape her? She said because he said so, and I was like, the thief tells you I stole because I was hungry. What do you expect him to say? I raped her because I'm a rapist? And I'm like, this is logical. And why should we blame the little girl of 5? باسكو قلت لها حتى شرعا في الدين في الشريعة ماشي مرغمة باش تلبس حجاب. على 5 ans. كي نهضروا زعما كي نروحوا للاكستريم كي نروحوا بلا صحة كنت تهضروا شريعة كنت تهضروا سترة كنت تهضروا متبرجات. She's 5. متبرجة 5.
Yeah, I mean
she's 5. قلت لها she's 5. قلت لها مي كي نهضروا على التحرش كي نهضروا على الاعتداء الجنسي فعل اللي جرموا الاسلام اللي راكو تهضروا به باسكو راهم يتاجروا به اللي جرموا الاسلام جرم الفعل هذا ولزمنا حنايا كي نحاسبوا اللي راهم يديروا في هذا الشيء. نتوما لا رحتوا عند طفله في عمرها 5 سنين باسكو باسكو جايه معمره قالت لي باسكو معمره الله يبارك اون ديغي مرا. دونك باش يشوفوا باللي خلاص شغل ولات كي نهضر نعاود نقولها نحن نعاني من ثقافة الاغتصاب. We suffer from rape culture and it's inserted in every like cash and it's very difficult now for us. We really need to move. لازم حملات توعوية.
You see, Farah, here is my stance when it comes to all of this. I mean, in the story of Shema or someone else.
Yeah.
Like, even when people talk about mistakes, sometimes I don't try to deny people's mistakes and say, those girls must be innocent in everything. Let's say, for example, yeah, they did the mistake. Let's say, for example, someone was hanging out with the wrong guys, with thugs, right? And then they did something to her. They raped her, they killed her, did something to her. You would be like, yeah, but she was hanging out with thugs. Yeah, but that doesn't give her a death sentence. You know, like when I was, for example, a teenager, I was smoking. You know, I was doing bad things because I didn't know what's right from wrong.
Yeah.
People need certain experience in order to learn from their mistakes. You don't kill me because of that. And so maybe you're supposed to get angry at the punishment. They don't deserve that punishment. Even if according to your concept, they're dressing in the wrong way or they're doing something wrong. But the question is, does that give the right to someone else to force, to kill?
Yes.
It does not.
I use their excuse, which is I told you يتاجروا بالدين. So I use their excuse and I'm like, كاينة حد الوحدة ماشي لابسة حجاب، داروا لها حد. كاينة حد في الشريعة الإسلامية الإنسانة متبرجة. اسكو كاينة حد هكا في الإسلام؟ كاينة الحد؟ ما كاش. تسمى why are you using this lame excuse?
Yeah, I mean, to give yourself the power and the right to...
I spoke about consent on my platform and people are like, are you crazy talking about something like this in our society? Like, are you crazy? We're not in America so that you speak about consent. And I'm like, sexual relationship is something that is happening in our society, whether we like it or not. So it's best that we know what's right or wrong since it's happening. It's best that we know what consent is. For a girl to date someone, this doesn't give him a permit to rape her.
Yeah.
Accepting to have a sexual relationship with somebody, even if she had it with him before, doesn't give him the right to do it again. If she said no, it means no. This is consent. And it goes on both ways, on men and women. Both need to know this. Because there are some men, even when in marriage, when I talk about rape in marriage, they're like, are you crazy? Are you insane? And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, she's his wife. She must say yes. No. This is not how it goes. لازم تراضي في كلش. لازم نفهموها هذه. This is not how it goes. For men and women, parce que كاينة men that are forced to do things, sinon يخاف مرته باسكو مرته قبيحة يخاف تروح تعايره عند قاع الناس. So he's forced to do this thing.
she would say شو ماشي راجل.
يعطيك الصحة. So it goes on both ways. كاينة واحد الانكومبريونسيون اللي ولات في لا سوسيتي تاعنا ما نلومهمش aussi. نقول لك علاش؟ باسكو ما كاش توعية. سي لا أنا في بلاص ما نقعد point fingers at why this why that. I try to do my part. باسكو كي نقول وي سي فري مي ليما تتخبي البابا تيخبي يشوفوها عيب تو مي سي نورمال كي يشعلوا لا تيلي ما شافوش عباد يهضروا على sexual assault on children ما وراولهمش كيفاش يهضروا مع اولادهم ما وراولهمش كيفاش يتقفوا اولادهم من حيعرفوا لي فام فوايي هذوما اللي راهم ساكنين في الجزائر العميقه من حتجيب لانفورماسيون انا سوفون نقول my colleagues, let's say the other feminists, I tell them that we really need. And when it comes to me, alhamdulillah, I have a very understanding family, a very supportive father. I have my own company. I can be selfish and focus, for example, on the issues that I face. Par exemple, the sexist jokes. Par exemple, le fait que يقولوا هذاك لو بروجي سي نورمال مراس ياكو على بالكم كيفاش تمشي باسكو يقولوها الحمد لله I'm lucky enough to work with big enterprises بصح because I do I am seen as, you know what, I'm slut shamed because of course I can't be hard working. I can't be شو انا نبت ليالي وانا نمبريمي personnellement من بعد تيك يعايروني مي نورمال. انا كي نكومباري هاد لو بروبليم مع لي بروبليم تاع البنات اللي في عمرهم 14 سنه ما ليهم يبيعوهم يزوجوهم مع البنات اللي راهم يزوجوهم مع لي فيولور تاعهم مع البنات اللي راهم يتعرضوا للتعنيف دائما كي نكومباري كي نشوف بلي انا راني سافا سي فري كو جي ان بروبليم بصح
Il y a une priorité.
Yeah, you could focus on only your life, but you decide to.
باسكو رانا بعاد على هذاك لا بيرفكسيون باش انا نولي نهضر على هذا باسكو انا بعاد لاخاطش كاينه بزاف اللي ماهمش يقدروا ميم با يديروا ربعه واش راني ندير.
Yeah, and you also feel like what you're suffering is nothing in comparison to what.
It is something for me. بصح على بالي بليك خواتاتي باسكو خواتاتي هادوك خواتاتي كاين اللي ما عندهمش رعايه صحيه. There is no health care. كاينه جوايه. I lived in ورقله and I know how hard it is in the south, for example. I know how hard it is. I know what they're suffering. I know what they're going through. So why be selfish? You know, it's very important for me to work on the problem that is affecting more people. I am, let's say, kind of privileged, and the privileged women in Algeria are a minority. We can't ما نغطوش الشمس بالغربال. نقدرش نقولها بالانجلي هذه. نغطوش الشمس بالغربال. On est une minorité. Donc je pense maintenant نكون selfish and I only think about myself. The majority are suffering. وسي سوا النساء كبار ولا صغار. وسورتو اللي راهم قاتلين هنايا children they are the ones who are paying the التفكير الرجعي اللي ولا كاين. باسكو كي نبرر انا what I say كي حنايا as a society we don't speak up when we see a man harassing a woman in the street. Us, all of us. باسكو هي سي نورمال تخاف الدور اللي تهضر معاه باسكو كي الدور اللي تهضر معاه يجوا كاع يتجمعوا يقولوا يا اخو اختك منها. دوك سي نورمال المخلوقه ما تهضرش تخاف تهضر واحد يضربها بموس ولا يكش ما يدير لها ولا يرمي عليها لاسيد you know so she gets scared. بصح لو كان كنا حنايا كامل ندخلوا روحنا باسكو في عفسه كيما هذه لازم ندخلوا روحنا كيما انايا like when we see someone throwing trash on the floor we talk to him we say grab that trash. You should not be throwing trash on the floor. When we see someone harassing a girl, we should all speak up, you know? All of us. Maybe just one person or two. If we all speak up, the harasser won't see himself as he has the right. Because now, the harassers, the perpetrators, because everyone is protecting them and everyone, even when there is this these fights in the streets, everyone they're telling him خطيك منها هكذا. It's like he is the right one. He is the one who's doing something right. Even in his psychology, he's not doing something wrong. هو يجوز في الوقت. بصح if رجال ونساء يقولوا له ما تحشمش، رجال ونساء يهدوا يقولوا دوك نروحوا البوست بوليس نشكيو بك رانا شهود، يخاف. سو ميم كي يكونوا عنده دي زيدي في راسو يقرديهم في راسو. راك فاهم؟ وهذا الهراسر كي نسكتوا عليه. When we don't say anything about people who are harassing, catcalling and harassing women in the streets, tomorrow they're going to touch women in the streets because they touch women in buses and they touch women in the street. I was walking, I think, 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, then someone really grabbed my hand. I don't know him. He was walking by. He grabbed my hand. Because first they start with a word and then they start with a gesture. And then they end up being rapists. And they don't think they're doing something wrong. Because no one is telling them that they're doing something wrong. And even when they do know it's wrong, because the society approves it by silent, they're not going to change their behavior. This is why I keep saying we are all responsible for the death of Shema and for the death of all the other girls. We are all responsible, me included. Because we can stop it just by speaking up and stopping these bad people whenever we see them. Of course, to get this message, we need campaigns. We need campaigns. The state needs to do campaigns. الجمعيات سهلة. But pour moi أنا نقول نشوف سهلة because I'm thinking about this. We can contact companies that might be interested in this and we do campaigns. They sponsor us and we do campaigns to end violence. تشوف des affiches في les bus, تشوف des affiches, تشوف la campagne في la télé, تشوفها partout. We need to spread awareness. القانون يتبدل وحده ما يكفيش. باسكو إلى مام واحد يتعدى على وحده في طريق someone who يدنا الوحده في طريق وتروح البوست بوليس ويقولوا لها كاينه شهود تقول لهم كنت في الزنقه تسمى كاينه بزاف بصح الناس ما تحبش تشهد. القانون كاين. The text exists. So how can we apply that?
They need witnesses, yeah.
We need witnesses. How can people witness?
يقول لك خطيني من مشاكل نروح أنا تخيبين خطيني من مشاكل أنا خطيني. Alors que when we see for example in other countries, let's talk about the United States, when they hear their neighbors fighting, they call the police because they get scared that the woman is getting beaten. We don't have that. شوفوها مسائل عائلية اللي كما يقول لك كابابل المرأة تنقتل تضرب حتى الموت وما يحوسوش يدخلوا روحهم باسكو انا خاطيني. We see two people fight. We see a man beating someone or beating a woman in the street or doing whatever we want. No, خاطيني. How can the كيفاش هاد المخلوقة ولا هاد المخلوق peu importe مخلوق ولا مخلوقة, how can they prove that someone did something bad to them if no one is able to stand by their side? We need to be together and fight this issue together. This is the only way.
It's not simple, yeah.
It's not simple, but this is how it should be done. The cases شوفوا rapists will exist دايما باسكو they exist everywhere. ما كاش بلاد ما فيهاش rape, ما كاش منها.
But at different degrees.
Different degrees. وماشي مسكوت عنها. C'est ça. In other countries, when someone rapes somebody, الاسم تاعو يطافيشا. حنا يقول لك شخص 40 شخص 50 يقولوا اسمه وفتحوه. كيفاش هذا شخص 40 شخص 50 Because it's true. They don't even mention the name. It's like even the media likes to trying to protect that aggressor. Everyone knows the name of Shema. Who knows the name of Ryan?
Yeah, there are a lot of cases. He's been hinting to me because we're running out of time. But,
yeah.
But the thing is that more power to you. Second, I advise everyone to check your page.
Thank you.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, it's TBD Algeria, TBD.Algeria. Tomorrow is a better day.
Yeah, sure. And also, I just want you to say a last message before we wrap this up. To
Speak
people.
up. Speak up. You guys must speak up. We are all responsible, and we need to speak up. We need to normalize talking about sexual assault.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't be taboo to speak about it. We shouldn't be bothered or, like, no. I'm going to tell you something quickly because
Sure.
we are running out of time, as you said. A friend of my sister, he's like, كوميما اختك كوراجوز. قالت له علاش؟ قال لها والله غير انا كنت مع مرتي ما قدرتش كاع نشوف انا الباساج تاعها. قالت له كيف وات؟ شغل عيب تشوف هاد السوجي عيب. This is someone who has a master degree, who traveled. You see, it's we really need to normalize
it's rooted
this.
in our culture, yeah.
Yeah, it's
true.
rooted, but I think we can make a change. We can move forward. What happened to Shema, I think it did affect many people. And I think it did hit the media. So the media are trying, for a lot of them trying to contact me to start speaking
Mm-hmm.
about this subject. So it's very important. So I think with media and associations aussi, I think that les associations, we need to, as شوفوا دي سبونسور شوفوا على بالي باللي it's hard وكشغل ما تحبوش تدخلوا في لعب تاع دراهم et tout, mais essayons de faire des campagnes parce que c'est très important en fait de faire des campagnes. These campaigns could really help. We should print flyers, we should do campaigns on TV, we should do campaigns in buses, we should do awareness days to speak about this subject, especially again 3 times, we need to spread awareness amongst parents.
Mm-hmm.
Because they are the ones who can actually affect, if they are well educated, then that would really help reduce the number of people, of cases of child sexual abuse. If parents are aware and if they communicate the right way, of course, the right way of communication with their children about this matter, we can really reduce the cases, because these pedophiles, they use children. Imagine when a pedophile tries to touch a child, they don't expect them to fight back or scream.
Yeah.
They expect them to just, they're children, they expect them to be silent. But when the child is well educated, when you tell them to scream, when you tell them when you how to say it, توصيهم باللي no one is allowed to touch you in your private parts, and you are not allowed to touch other children in their private parts, or your others are not allowed to show you their private parts. When they see that, they scream and they run, and even that pedophile will be in shock because they don't expect that.
Mm-hmm.
So it will really reduce it. Let's all speak up and help spread awareness against this.
All right, so it's been nice, interesting, and fun talking to you,
Thank
Farah.
you.
Hopefully we're going to have you again in some other podcast in the future.
You're more than welcome.
Yeah, you got a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm. You're very...
I'm sorry I talk a lot, I'm really sorry. But I think
like that.
That's the point of podcasts.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I like that.
It's
I always like, guests who chat a lot and speak
Yeah.
a lot. So, guys, you can find this podcast available on Spotify, Public Radio, Google Podcasts, Anchor, and different podcast platforms in audio form, where you can listen to this podcast while you're cooking or driving or multitasking, doing whatever. Just play it in the background of your phone and enjoy the conversations that we have with the amazing Goodfolks guests that we bring in each episode. That's it for today, and have a good evening or good night. Bye-bye.